Hi, I'm Daniel, and I'm Senor da Cozinha. Today we're going to be making Portuguese-styled steak, marinated in garlic wine or beef de vinho. To start off, we have 4 garlic cloves that I went ahead and just kind of roughly chopped, and we're going to add this into this container. Next, we have 4 bay leaves that I went ahead and crushed. We have half a teaspoon of black pepper and 1/8 of a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. And then since we're using about 1.5 pounds of sirloin steak, we're going to use 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Remember, 1 teaspoon per pound. So let's go ahead and add our seasoning in here. Next, we have our liquid, which is just 1 teaspoon of red wine vinegar and 1 teaspoon of red Portuguese wine. And so whenever cooking any type of ethnic food, I try to use the wine from that region. For example, if I was making lasagna, I would use Italian wine. Today we're making a Portuguese dish, so I'm using Portuguese red wine. Whenever it comes to cooking wine, I know that people think that you just buy the cheapest. That is true to an extent. You want to make sure you still buy something that it tastes good because your food is going to taste of that ingredient. So in this case, I'm using one called Casa Velha. It's only $10. Not my favorite Portuguese wine, but still a good wine, very good value. So we're going to go ahead and toss in our liquids. And then we have here 2 tablespoons of Portuguese olive oil. So we're going to add this. And now we're just going to mix this up a little bit. We'll let this sit here for, let's say, 20-30 minutes, just to kind of let it sit together, absorb the flavors. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and add our steak. Okay, so now that our marinade has had some time to rest and kind of marry together all the flavors, we're going to go ahead and add our steak. So this is actually 1 steak. That's 1.5 pounds, so enough for 2 people. We're going to go ahead and just kind of slide it in here and tuck it in. And then we're going to let this sit here or put it in the fridge for 3 hours. And then after 3 hours, I'm going to go ahead and flip it. So that way both sides get all the flavor. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and throw it in the grill. Our steak's been marinating for 6 hours in total. We're going to go ahead and throw it on the grill. Since this is a top sirloin, it doesn't have the fat that a ribeye has, so I turned it up pretty high instead of smoking it. And if you just have a gas grill at home, I would suggest also turning it up high. You really just want to judge it by how much marbling the steak has. So this one doesn't have too much, so we're going to do it on high. All right, and have the thermometer in there. And we'll pull it at about 140. And until then. All right, so our steak is ready. For the sides, we have just a humble setting of some salad, as well as some potatoes. And then for the wine, pardon the scribble, this was a gift, but we have some Quinta de Carvalhas. It's a red wine blend from the Douro Valley. This one's a Reserva. It's a full-bodied wine, but it's still elegant. I think it's going to be heavy enough that it's going to carry with the steak. So I think it runs about $27 the last time I checked. I really recommend it, especially if you're having a nice steak dinner. So with that, bon appetit. E saúde.